Now, next thing here, so let me stop this. So that now here's a project two other students did, um, I believe, year before last, and here I think they were actually working with some health data from the HealthGov website or something like that. But this particular student had an interest in working with health data, and I think she was also project lead the way biomedical science student as well. So anyway, here, so what she did, so she's analyzing health data as reported for various diagnostic related group services, and she actually made a drop down box for for state. So so I'll choose like California, and then what major, so a major joint replacement reattachment. Here, let me move this up, so if I do that it drops down. So and then display the results in there, and so it shows for that particular DRG what was the cover cost, the total payments, and the Medicare payments. And then I believe you can change it and generate another one, and then now it shows it for Ohio. Or you could change the diagnostic related services, and there you can chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So anyway, so that was a good use of things you may not have done with TK Enter. She actually used drop down boxes and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But one could just as well go ahead and create pie charts that will compare like two states. So a lot one could do with that. All right, and so that was health data. The next one, voting. So so this is actually data taken from Minnesota voting statistics. And so when this pops up, so here. So this one I've done quite often with students. But here's a map of the congressional districts in Minnesota. And the way this worked, if you clicked outside one of these those blue markers, I believe it gives you the total voting statistics for the Senate race in Minnesota for 2000. Actually, I updated this using 2018, but in years past, I think they used 2014. So students have done this for 2014, 15, and 16. And here I've updated it for 2018. But anyway, it shows you the votes, total votes for Green Party write-in, those who legalized marijuana, DFL, and Republican. And so that was if you clicked outside those blue markers. But if I clicked one of the blue markers, it actually shows you the voting statistics for that district, congressional district. So there you see District 8, and if I go like District 4, and then District 3 and District 7. All right, so as in years past, as we've done this, and it always comes out to be this way, but if you take a look at the total votes by district, they're all about the same, and that's the way it should be, right? Because congressional districts should have equal representation. All right, so that was using Minnesota Senate race data. All right, and then and then the one I've done, which somebody can certainly go ahead and choose to tackle. So I thought this would be interesting. So I found that Chicago has some pretty good data on COVID-19 cases by zip code. So I use this background, and then what you do, if you input a zip code here, like 60651, display the results, and then that gives you a trend. Of the number of COVID cases and deaths deaths for zip 60651. All right, and then one could change the zip code again, and it would pop up something else. 061. All right, so if someone wishes to tackle that, again, just let me know, and I'll give you the data. So for the most part, for COVID-19 cases, in fact, for all of these here, I already have the CSV file. You don't need to go ahead and download the CSV file. I've cleaned up this CSV file so it's easy to work with. Most times when you're doing these type of analysis, you have to clean up the data, but that has already been done for you. Now, if you wish to find, or if you wish to work with a data set that I haven't shown, that's fine. Just let me know what that data set is and what you plan on doing, or what you plan on illustrating. But again, there's two things you have to do. One, you have to use tkinter to generate a graphical interface, and then two, you have to interact with that graphical user interface, or tkinter, to show matplot, to show some type of data. Okay, just like that there. Well, so that's it for your final problem or project. And again, I know I've missed some things, but I'll fill in some details. One thing I did find, that if you work with Python 3, tkinter, when you import it, it's not capital T, it's small t. And then when you're working with NumPy files, when you're importing data from a NumPy file, and if it's a string, data that you're importing, you have to do something special, because it's not represented quite as a string, it's represented as something else. Anyway, that's kind of talked about on that Google Doc that I have. But if you run into those problems, I'm always here to help. So for the most part, what I've always told students is that you should be at the point now where you have very few questions to be able to do something like this. But if you have run into a problem like working with Python, I'm willing to help you there without penalty. But now if it involves me having to help you with the code and things like that, well, that's a little different story, because I do kind of expect you guys to be able to get through that. Although I will put out like what you should consider with some of these projects, or like walking through the code. Pseudocode is what we call it, but at least to get you started as to what you should be doing there. Anyway, guys, that's it. Now you have until the end of the school year to do this project. So many students have gotten it done like in a week. Now, usually when I've given this, it's been like May 15th. It's about 10 days before the seniors' last day, because I want them to finish it up. Actually, it's been more like 7 days or so, and for the most part, they've been able to complete it in 7 days or so. But you have quite a bit of time to work on this, and this is it. This is the last thing you have to do. All right, the only other thing I'd have to say is that nobody can do the same thing. Okay, everybody has to do something different, using a different data set, creating a different chart, or looking at something differently, but no one is allowed to do the same thing. And just let me know what it is you want to work with. If you find a data set that you want to work with, that'd be fine too. Just let me know.